The clock struck 11 as snow fell in gentle sheets over the small town of Ashenbury. The streets were quiet, save for the occasional flicker of Christmas lights from the homes lining Main Street. Inside the old Crestfield Manor, however, silence reigned heavy, oppressive, like a storm waiting to break. Eleanor Crestfield, a stern woman in her late 50s, sat by the fireplace, her eyes fixed on the flames. The manor had seen better days, but Eleanor's heart had grown as cold and lifeless as the withering ivy clinging to the walls. Since the tragic loss of her son, Daniel, 5 years ago on Christmas Eve, she had become a recluse, shunning the world and its joy. Tonight, she planned to spend another Christmas Eve alone, lost in bitter memories. The grandfather clock chimed 12, and Eleanor sighed, rising to extinguish the fire. Just as she reached for the iron poker, a chill swept through the room, snuffing out the flames and plunging her into darkness. She froze, her breath visible in the frigid air. A whisper drifted from the shadows. "Eleanor." Her heart raced. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice trembling. No reply came, but the whispering grew louder, layering over itself like a sinister choir. She turned, her eyes darting across the room, only to find it empty. She said she'd gladly come over and help, so I figured why not. I told her to come over around 900 that night. It was already dark at that point when we made the plan, man. It was likely like 7:30, because I remember hurriedly grabbing my keys and rushing to drive to the liquor store to buy a couple bottles of wine. When I got back to the house, I vacuumed and swept the floors. Ever since my breakup, the things my girlfriend would do to clean the place were left to me, and I realized how quickly a place can get dirty. 9 p.m. rolled around, and I was low-key sitting upright on the couch with the TV on, pretending like I was just chilling in the living room, watching a movie already. Meanwhile, I had set everything up to be cozy and relaxing, but I sat there for a while waiting on her to message me, or for the doorbell. I sent a follow-up saying, "Let me know when you're on your way," and I eventually started to think she was flaking. Until finally around 9:30, when she said she's outside. She came inside, and I was shocked to find that I was looking up at her. She was a couple inches taller than me. I'm 5'10", so she had to be at least 6 feet tall. I also immediately picked up on the fact that she smelt like she was drenched in perfect perfume. We went straight to the couch and sat down, and she sat really close to me, like our legs were touching. This is where I started to get confused in how exactly I was feeling. She looked a bit older, maybe a little rougher. Before Eleanor could respond, the ghost raised a hand, and the room melted away like frost under sunlight. In its place appeared a bustling town square. People hurried about, their laughter and chatter filling the air. Eleanor recognized the scene instantly. It was Ashenbury, as it had been years ago, vibrant and alive. "Why are you showing me this?" she asked. The ghost gestured to a corner of the square where a young boy sat huddled against a wall, his face pale and his clothes tattered. He held a sign that read, "Hungry. Please help." "This boy," the ghost said, "has no family, no home. You passed him every day without a second glance." Eleanor's stomach twisted. "That's not fair. I didn't know." "You chose not to see," the ghost interrupted. "Your grief blinded you to the suffering of others." The scene shifted again, this time to the interior of a modest home. A family of 5 sat around a sparse dinner table, their faces weary, but their eyes hopeful. The youngest, a girl no older than 6, clutched a stuffed bear with one eye missing. The Thompsons, Eleanor murmured. She remembered them vaguely as a family who had once asked for her help to repair their roof after a storm. She had turned them away, consumed by her own sorrow. The ghost's voice was unrelenting. They may do without your help, but not without cost. The father works 3 jobs, the eldest son gave up school, and the mother's health wanes from overwork. All because you chose solitude over compassion. Tears welled in Eleanor's eyes. I didn't realize. It is not too late, the ghost said, its tone softer now. But you must act, Eleanor. There is still time to change. Before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from the darkness. The scene dissolved, and Eleanor found herself back in her living room. The ghost was gone, but the fireplace roared to life again, casting an unsettling glow across the room. She sat down, her mind racing with the images she'd seen. Before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from the darkness. The scene dissolved, and Eleanor found herself back in her living room. The ghost was gone, but the fireplace roared to life again, casting an unsettling glow across the room. She sat down, her mind racing with the images she'd seen. Just as she began to collect herself, a knock echoed through the manor. Startled, she hesitated before rising to answer. The door creaked open, revealing a young girl standing in the snow. Her clothes were thin, her cheeks red from the cold. "Please," the girl said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm lost. Can I come in?" Eleanor's heart clenched. For a moment, she considered turning the girl away, but the ghost's words lingered in her mind. She stepped aside, allowing the girl in. "What's your name?" Eleanor asked, guiding her to the fire. "Clara," the girl replied, her eyes darting nervously around the room. "Thank you for letting me in." As Eleanor fetched a blanket, Clara's gaze fell on a photo above the mantel. "Is that your son?" she asked. Eleanor nodded, her throat tight. He passed away 5 years ago." Clara's expression softened. "I'm sorry. It's hard to lose someone you love." Eleanor sat down beside her. "Yes, it is. But tonight, I think I've learned that holding on to that pain doesn't bring them back." The two sat in silence for a moment before Clara spoke again. "Do you believe in miracles, Mrs. Crestfield?" Eleanor hesitated, then smiled faintly. "I'm not sure." Clara's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Maybe tonight, you'll find your answer." Suddenly, the room grew brighter, the fire crackling with an unnatural intensity. Clara stood, her figure shimmering like the ghosts had earlier. Eleanor watched in awe as the girl's form transformed, her ragged clothes replaced by a radiant gown. "Clara," Eleanor whispered. The girl's smile remained. "I was sent to remind you of what you've forgotten, Eleanor. Love, compassion, hope." Tears streamed down Eleanor's face. "But why? Why now?" Clara's gaze was gentle. "Because it's never too late to change. And because your son wanted you to know he's at peace." Eleanor's breath caught. "You've seen him?" Clara nodded. "He asked me to give you this." She held out a small ornament, a glass angel with wings outstretched. Eleanor recognized it instantly. It had been Daniel's favorite decoration. Clara's figure began to fade, her voice echoing as she spoke. "Merry Christmas, Eleanor. Remember, love never truly leaves us." As the light dimmed, Eleanor clutched the ornament to her chest, her heart swelling with a warmth she hadn't felt in years. She glanced out the window. the snow falling softly against the glow of the streetlights. For the first time in a long while, she felt a spark of hope. The next morning, Eleanor stepped out into the town square, a basket of gifts in hand. She greeted her neighbors, offering smiles and apologies where they were long overdue. And though she missed her son deeply, she carried his memory with a lighter heart, knowing that love could heal even the deepest wounds. In the end, the ghost of Christmas Present had given Eleanor more than just a glimpse into the lives of others. It had reignited her own. The miracle wasn't in the haunting, but in the love it inspired, proving that even in the darkest moments, the light of compassion can lead us home. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends who love a good scare. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a spine-tingling story. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What's your scariest experience? We'd love to hear it.